camera right's kind of a lot of that's part of the fun when you get to drive, and as Gary Vee would say, produce content. So it's kind of an interesting thing to get a chance to drive or do content, pardon the finger there, people, and head home. 2.5 hours for the last, maybe 6 years or so. I've had the opportunity to come teach out here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and it's kind of cool when you get a chance to actually teach and train people and talk to people, and you see some of the fruits of your work, where somebody shows up where you work at and is now one of your coworkers opposed to one of your students. It's interesting the area of influence we have, and how simplistically speaking we could probably make a better world for ourselves by influencing better behavior. I guess ranting for just a second, but we'll just kind of go with that. But no, seems like damn near every week, for exception of a handful, one or two, since it's going to be basically since the pandemic struck, we've had a chance to come out here and turn on a dime from a business that had 22 people in a class, 19-day EMT class, 3 weeks worth of time, clinical time, stuff like that. And we had to turn on a dime, literally, and make a Zoom class out of an EMT class, which was kind of interesting. And the interesting thing is now we can put 40 people in a class. And so obviously there's net profit and financial gain, and a huge area of responsibility too, because we're bringing all of these people in to take the practical session, which is a 6-day long course. And somehow we make it happen. There's an exception here and there. We got some people that are bumblebee tuners, what do you want to call them? Idiots. I don't know. Maybe we should call them idiots. They're just, we live in a weird society now where we have people that, think everything should be given to them, or I think this, or I think that, or they don't have a concept of the basic, you got to work for stuff. You got to work hard for things, you want to run a marathon, you got to get out here and do the work. You want to be in shape, you got to do the work. You want to have a good relationship. Hashtag, hell yeah, I understand that. You got to work at it, and it's not just once a day, it's every day. It's getting up and making a commitment to something, and if you break that commitment, understanding that there are probably some ramifications within that paradigm that you're going to have to address. It's kind of interesting to see the people you have a chance to meet. I think I did the numbers. It's close to 300 people we've taught the EMT class to. And don't get me wrong, we'd probably do similar numbers if we're in class or in school or in a regular traditional classroom. But it's interesting to see the personalities and the people now that tell the story, hey, I need a job. And this seems to have a job that not only is, doing something, it's meaningful, something I always wanted to do. Never thought we'd see this in a global pandemic. But you see that, and you see that level of commitment or hurt or concern or maybe agitation and fear. I don't know, maybe it's an interesting concept to speak to people about. And from my standpoint, it's kind of unique to see the anxiety you have because you deal with so many different people now and a different platform, different angles, different platforms, different areas, and then we can go into the whole social justice mentality, the whole ego and attitude thing that we talk about with whether it's people of race or gender justification and all these other things that have just kind of popped up this year. It's definitely not been a typical welcoming year to a decade, that's for sure. I think anybody would take 2010 or 2010 over this year, just because of the challenges that we've met, we've tripped over, we've seen, and definitely from a teaching standpoint, we've opened a lot of interesting doors. So I think what we start talking and I start rolling my brain as I'm driving home is, what's next? How do we turn on that dime again? How do we make something jump or pop or a little bit more exciting? How do we make a schedule work better? How do we try and better understand who we are, what we are, and make an interesting book? And I actually got it in the back seat. I can't even reach for it right now, but it's a very interesting book to talk about. Make shit happen. It's an easy statement to say. It's a hard book to read, and it's a simple book to read. The guy who wrote it is quite a fascinating guy. When you get him away from a camera, get him away from his ego, he's actually a very genuinely motivating person. And then you see him maybe on YouTube or Facebook or wherever the hell it's at. I had to cut him off Facebook, and I had to cut off Facebook in general just because of some of the issues that we were having with Facebook. I don't know, maybe Gary Vee doesn't like that too much, but it's kind of interesting. You got 5 platforms on a thing, and dude, I'm down with that. I mean, I like what he talks. I like his effort, and I like his ability and his ability to talk to people. But it's kind of interesting when we start talking about how we affect change and how we make change, and how we try and read people, trying to connect that thing, whatever the hell that thing is, that connection. And especially now where we have a whole generation of people that sure as hell appear they get pretty offended over anything, which is kind of sad in its own right. I don't know. I've been told I get butthurt, so I don't know. Should be interesting. On the other side of that, it's a beautiful day. Balmy. It actually says 89 degrees outside, which I think is pretty funny. It doesn't feel like 89 degrees. Sunny. Just kind of driving down the road here, kind of enjoying stuff. But in all sincerity, human beings are very interestingly dangerous people, or creative creatures, if you will. So if we can pick up where we left off and start doing some really good things for people. Because I think at the end of the day, I think that's what our intent is to do good things for people. Somehow we get caught up lost in the game, and that just becomes a problem. So, anyway. This is probably going to get deleted, but whatever. From the road. Talk to you soon. I think I'll get someone to watch this one and not laugh too hard at me.